What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, very honestly, this may be the last casting update, not only for the Fantastic Four or the MCU, but for really anything going on in Hollywood. For quite some time, they're still hopelessly deadlocked in the middle of an actors and writers strike. There won't be any castings going on in Hollywood until at least one of those has found a resolution. Now, in the meantime, we have an update today about Adam Driver and his relationship to the role of Reed Richards. More details about why he may have turned down the script. This coming from an industry insider who's been rather vocal over the last 6 months about his ties to the role. We're going to break down what Jeff Sneider over on the Hot Mic podcast has said recently about Adam Driver, what was reported, and some of the other news about rewrites to the script, how one might have to do with the other, and what it actually may mean for the film itself. We're going to break down the latest news, why Adam Driver turned down the Fantastic Four role reportedly, and what it might mean for the Fantastic Four rewrite. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel, and that's all we do. Everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, and reviews, to the occasional industry insider report, and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. That will automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway. The next one will coincide with Loki's release. We're also going to do some comic book giveaways between now and then. Again, all you got to do, be a subscriber, leave a comment down below. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so in case you haven't been keeping up with the Fantastic Four rumors over the last 12 months, outside of John Krasinski, Adam Driver has been the name that has been coming up the most frequently and stemming all the way back to rumors of last September. Amongst a bunch of different industry insiders constantly connecting him to the role was one industry insider, Jeff Sneider, who we've reported on quite a bit from over on the Hot Mic podcast. You guys can check them out on YouTube, and he's had quite a few industry insider tidbits. Now, when it comes to specifically what he said about Adam Driver from earlier in the year, he was one of the initial industry insiders that said Adam Driver had been offered the role, and it appears that at least one point that might have been true. As late as June of this year, so not so long ago, he also brought up that Adam Driver might have priced himself out, as we had heard from other industry insider sources that him and Margot Robbie may have been asking somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 million per film and may not have been able to sign a deal or in time. The latest we had heard is that Adam Driver wasn't totally out of the role, and it was basically a wait and see. Well, the latest update coming from Jeff Sneider was this, and I'm glad that he basically acknowledged some of his earlier scoops because, hey, things do change, information does change. We've definitely gone through that at the channel. It's always good to be transparent about it, but this is exactly what he said, again, on the Hot Mic podcast. That quote, "This contradicts some stuff we've put out there in the past, but I'm not afraid to share it. This comes from someone reportedly working on the Fantastic Four movie. They said that Adam Driver was never really engaged in this. They sent Adam Driver a script a while back, and he said that he couldn't connect with the character on the page and passed very early on." Now, while in spirit, that's basically where some of the rumors had left off anyway, that he had passed. Whether or not it went one way or another really doesn't matter if he's not going to take the role. But what I will say is that the whole reason my channel exists, or that the rumor mill and what's been going on surrounding Marvel Studios even has a news cycle in the first place, is that we get a lot more right than we get wrong. And to see his name this prevalent in the reporting, and literally going back 8 months now to fall of last year, it's just really hard for me to believe that this was never that connected. Now, to be fair, if he did pass very early on the original iteration of the script, that's where I bring up the point that I mentioned during the prologue, that the script is actually being rewritten. Now, some of you guys may have not known this, but Marvel Studios literally hired 2 complete no-names in the industry of Hollywood to write the Fantastic Four script. And when I say no names, I literally mean that some of you here watching the channel have more in the way of IMDb credits for what you've done in the Hollywood industry than these guys. They had 0 to their name as of the time of hiring. Some things they were working on, but nothing that they had published. That's what led to eventually earlier this year, it was announced by the Hollywood Reporter back on March 31st that Fantastic Four movie would get new writer with Avatar 2 scribe Josh Friedman exclusive, where he replaced the 2 earlier guys that were working on it to rewrite the script. This is the speculative part of this, but considering again where in the industry there's smoke, there's fire, I wonder if the script rewrites weren't just for the health of the project, but more trying to connect with a specific actor and say something like Adam Driver to play Reed Richards, because it is really important that they lock up that role and that actor. You simply can't miss with that casting because he's going to be playing Reed Richards and for quite some time. Now, I have to bring up what this means for the Fantastic Four itself because it reminds me of another Marvel project that's been going right now in replacing the writers. You guys know that Blade was onto its second writer, and right before the writer's strike, and a month before it would have gone into actual filming, that's how close it was in pre-production to rolling tape, had hired a third writer to work on the script. And I have to admit that a lot of times, while I felt like the writing is something that has suffered at Marvel Studios, we've heard plenty of reports about how writers like Jeff Loveness or Michael Waldron have had a much more succinct story that they've written and presented to the studios, but unfortunately it's become so homogenized and watered down, too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak, or rather, too many people working on the script and sort of making it a movie by committee, that at the end of the day, it's impossible for them to even get their succinct voice out. That's why I argue if you get the right people to write the scripts from the beginning, which, i.e. they have to pay more money for better writers, then you don't need the extensive writing by committee. Again, too many cooks in the kitchen. And when, over the last couple of years, Marvel Studios has allowed their directors and the writers to do that, to express their voice in the story as intended, see, say, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 with James Gunn, or Michael Giacchino and Werewolf by Night, or Destin Daniel Cretton and Shang-Chi, you have some of the best projects Marvel has done in these phases because they are that kind of project. Now, that being said, I think it also says a lot about the script from Adam Driver's point of view, and this is speculative. We don't even know that this is true. But if you have someone like Adam Driver who's turning it down, I would try to defend him and say he's done some very serious acting and has range as an actor, but then I know a lot of you would jump in the comments and say his last movie was 65, and I know what you're saying. I get it. If he's going to be in 65, can't see him really holding out on Reed Richards, but I actually think it's quite the opposite, because even a B-grade action film can just be a one-off, even if it turns into a franchise. If it does well, it's not the kind of commitment that you have saying, I'll be Reed Richards and signing an 8-picture deal over the next 10 years of your career. He's had familiarity with what happens with Disney and the Star Wars franchise. He already knows what happens when the fans can turn on a project if it doesn't go their way. You have to imagine that's at least playing a small part in, if he truly did turn down the script, if the script isn't up to snuff. That being said, guys, again, it's going to be a long time before we hear updates until the actor strike is complete. And as I say many times here at the channel, we don't wish for a speedy resolution to this. I mean, we do. We want everyone to go back to work. But what we hope for is that the studios can come back in good faith and negotiate something that when the actors and writers do eventually return to work, they can feel like it was worth their time and that they won and that they're taken care of, so everyone can feel happy going to work, because who doesn't want to do that? Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below. If Adam Driver is not your pick at this point, and we know John Krasinski's basically out, who else you got? So many names back on the table. I am all ears. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Alright, we're still giving away PlayStation 5s at the channel. Eventually the PlayStation 5 Pro apparently is going to come out, and we'll switch over to those when they do. In the meantime, if you want to be entered to win, or for any of the other giveaways we're doing, the next PlayStation will be for Loki in October, but in the meantime we'll do some comic book giveaways between now and then. All the same rules will always apply. All you gotta do, hit the subscribe button and be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit that notification bell with all notifications turned on, especially in the days of YouTube now unsubscribing people if you haven't been by in a while. So make sure you do that. Of course, if you like today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the thumbs up. My name is Michael Roman. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at I'mFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes under the name All Fires. And while I sincerely appreciate you checking the music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around, post again real soon.